Hey guys, Tom itself here. I know we did a podcast on this a while back, but something got me to thinking a little more about it. So I want to talk about the roles you have in games like Battlefield, and this kind of applies to Call of Duty too. Specifically, I want to talk about the Slayer role. So what got me thinking about this was my friend Puppy, who has a YouTube channel as well, he's just starting out, decided that he was going to go from Colonel 99 to Colonel 100 using defibrillators. Now, he's let himself do some other stuff like arm objectives and whatnot, but he's not going to shoot, and he's going to try not to throw grenades, although I think he killed someone with a grenade earlier today, but that was a mistake. That was an accident. Didn't mean to kill him. And so he's running around with his defibrillator paddles out, and I am always surprised at how well he does and how many kills he gets with this stupid. But playing with him, that's made me kind of reevaluate my own play style, and so obviously he's pretty hardcore playing objectives. As he's going for kills here and there, he might stay back and try and get behind their lines, but he's getting a lot of his points from arming MCOMs. So I think there's a game in here where he gets like 4 arms or something ridiculous like that, and yeah, and he's even taken MVP with no kills. Well, obviously, you know, he's not running around and winning games without killing people on his own. You know, killing people with defibrillators is kind of silly, and it's not always going to work for you. But I don't entirely understand how he does it. I just know that I'm trying to help him out, and so my role, classically, kind of, since he's not killing people, there are more people for me to kill. And hey, I can deal with that normally. I like that situation. But it got me thinking more about the whole role of what a Slayer is supposed to be doing. So it applies to Battlefield, but even more Call of Duty. People say Slayer, and they hear what the role is normally called, and they think, oh, that just means you're supposed to run around and kill people, and, you know, play it like a team deathmatch where you're not supposed to die. You're supposed to kill enemies and not care about anything else. And I think that's a mistake, because the Slayer role, what ends up happening is you end up killing the most people, and that's not because your job is to necessarily make sure you kill people. It's just that what you're trying to do winds up involving killing lots of people. That's a bit of an odd distinction. Let me talk about it some more. I see this as my role is not to plant the objective. It's to make sure the guy can get to the objective and arm it safely, and then he can set up to defend it. So my job is to clear people off of it and make them fight me as they try to push up. You know, see here, that MCOM got armed, and these guys are running in to kill, and I am here ready to slaughter them as they run by me. Just, and you love seeing that kill feed, right? But you know the guy who planted it, got it armed, and then we're defending it from right on the objective. Like, they're the ones who made that happen. They're the ones who armed it, and me, I'm just sitting here, you know, helping them out, clearing out the area, making sure that they can stay there long enough that we end up getting the MCOM detonated. So, yeah, and I guess as much in Rush, you see people concentrate up, and so if you want to kill people, you're going to run, you're going to deal with the objectives. But maybe in Conquest, where you can just ignore the objective, you can just leave it uncapped, that's not so good. So what's the Slayer's role in Conquest? Yes, you burn the other team's tickets, but if you don't have control of the points, you're in some serious trouble, because let's face it, killing people, useful in Conquest, controlling the points, more important. Let's step back to capture the flag. I know it's not in Battlefield, but it's where I think a lot of people hear these roles defined from, where you've got your defenders, whose job is to sit on your team's flag and defend it. You've got your flag runners, your offense, whose job it is to get the other team's flag and run it back. You've got your support players, whose job it is to, you know, do whatever they have to. And then you've got your Slayers. And in CTF, your Slayers sit in the middle of the map and try and control the ideal routes, the ideal lines of sight, and, you know, kill the people who are the other team who are trying to move around. And it really comes down to map control. And so I'd say, as much as anything, in any game type, the Slayer's role is map control. And I mean, that's how I play, and so I'm not playing to kill people, I'm playing for map control. And usually the hot places on the map with action spots, those are good places to be. That's why people go there. And so that's what you want to control, both for your team and to deny it from the other team. So, yeah, I get the impression, you know, I post some fairly good fairly high killing gameplay. And be like, oh, you're running Slayer, and I don't think of that for myself, but yeah, it's kind of what ends up happening, especially when I'm running around trying to make sure Puppy can arm an MCOM. Now, I'm not going to even look at the MCOM. I'm just going to look at where people are going to be coming from and know that he's going to be there, and if someone steps into the room, he's not going to help me. Instead, he's going to wait till they go to the MCOM, and then he's going to try and defibrillate them from behind for the kill. But so I know it's kind of like, I'm on my own, he's going to arm the objective, and all I have to do is control the area to get there and then to defend it. So I hope that makes sense. Oh, we're gonna wrap up this game on Op Metro here, and you know, Puppy's like, I want to do something that no one else has ever done before. I'm gonna run defib only for 99 to 100. Puppy, the reason no one else has done this before is because it's crazy, so props to you for that. Poor guy is just getting killed and revived, and I think he gets to stay up in the end. That was a little silly there. And okay, so I normally wouldn't talk about this, but this was awesome, and I'm really glad I'm running Flechette. I can tell it makes a difference at really close ranges, but kill feed. Get in there just in time to keep them off of the MCOM and unable to defuse it. So that was a nice win there. Alright, so that was some good old Op Metro offense with a shotgun. Very much just push, 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 get up in their faces, push them off the MCOMs, and keep going forward. Now, what about defense? I mean, is there a role for a Slayer on defense? I'm not entirely sure it makes as much sense. It's just like, yeah, everyone's job is to set up and, you know, you spread out so you can be effective, and you try to kill as many of them as possible, because once you bleed out their tickets, that's how you win. Is there... What is it to say there's a Slayer role in defense on... I mean, I guess the one thing that can happen is if you see that the other MCOM is under attack, you might stay with your own MCOM just to make sure that the enemies don't get both of them. But I don't see how that's a particularly slight. Like that doesn't involve killing people. Why would you call that Slayer? But that's my mentality, at least. I was like, all right, I see I have teammates over there. They can take care of the other MCOM. I need to stay with this one. And yeah, I guess it means I get to be alone a little more, and if people do come, then yeah, then I get the kills in that case. But at the same time, it's playing for control of an area and not so much just going around looking for kills. Should have reloaded. I only had one bullet left. This is silly. Alright, so this kind of makes sense for infantry combat, which is what I've shown you so far, Grand Bazaar, Op Metro. But what about when we put vehicles into the mix? What constitutes a Slayer in that case? I would think that if you want to call a role Slayer, that would be jet pilots, because their job is to kill enemy armor and helicopters and other jets. And so it's all about the killing stuff. It's not about controlling, you know, areas or providing cover fire or locking down a choke point. So is the jet pilot, like, is that... I'm not sure. I guess that makes sense. If you're going to call something Slayer, that would be it. Oh, so I apparently got my head stuck in the boat and disappeared. Became a disembodied name. Yeah, this was not so cool. Like, Puppy, come back and drive the boat off my head so I can move again. And he finally comes back and moves it, and I'm still stuck, so I end up having to suicide here. Kind of a weird bug. But not all maps have jets, not all maps have helicopters. I mean, it kind of varies. But in general, you've kind of got this weird rock, paper, scissors thing that it keeps changing depending on even what base you're on, and what map, and which game mode. And so, it's, you know, whose job is it to take out vehicles? I mean, it often falls to just the good old engineer with a small or RPG. And, you know, at that point, you're looking to deny the enemy their resources, but as much as anything, it's control the map because they don't have access to their armor or helicopters or what have you. Hey, what are you trying to do? No, you're not gonna knife me. No, just no, as I keep going with the G18 because the reload is faster. Alright, so as it seems like a lot of times, as someone who prefers infantry combat, when I have to take out vehicles, when that's a concern, it's only part of what I'm trying to do, because obviously I only get so many RPGs are small, as they take so long to reload, and so yeah, it can't be all I do. So I still end up having to do a lot of work with my gun, and the engineer weapons, while good, honestly they're not as good as some of the other ones. So how many? I think I keep trying different guns in this game. I start with a Scar. I go to the what is it? Then I could go to the MTAR, and maybe even I'll switch again to the QBZ at the end. I just, like, I cannot find anything that seems to work for me, at least satisfactory. I guess I just got used to guns that did a little more damage. As you can see, I'm not worried about the MCOM. It's all the guys running around it. I'm just trying to spot people, and I'm basically looking everywhere but the MCOM. And when I know I've got teammates who, if they can get in there and arm it, will, that's what I'm going to do instead, because honestly, I'm decent at it. So, yeah, you can hear the difference between the Scar and the MTAR, at least I can. It's just like, oh, and now I'm wishing I had this Scar, because that's a long-range shot, and the MTAR at that range, not so much. And so my teammates are all in good position, and I can just sit back here and guard the MCOM. I mean, now I'm the closest person to it. Like, there seems to be no rhyme or reason in a lot of ways until I explain it. Like, if I was just going to kill people, I would keep running towards their spawn, but instead I'm sitting here next to the MCOM, sitting next to the Amtrak, and yes, these are kind of safer locations, but at the same time, I'm getting a lot of work done, and so yeah, I can't complain. But the thing is, this line right here, this is really good cover. And it's hard to tell at first glance, but especially back in the Project PTFO tournament, the squad rush on this map, staying down on those railroad tracks, that gives you great cover. You're basically head glitching right there. And so staying there is a fantastic defensive position. If an enemy managed to get all the way around behind us and get where I was, they could really tear up my teammates. So that is kind of a power position. That entire line there, or the railroad track and that ledge, we need to control that. And so, yeah, I'm going to stay there. It's like I said, I play the power positions here. We're getting around behind the MCOM, clearing it out. Just anywhere I can go to keep the enemies from getting to there and threatening my teammates. And so it's kind of like, I mean, you could say it's like thinking about chess, where you're trying to think 2-3 moves ahead, although you don't really have to think, you know, 2 is normally good enough. But okay, they're going to try to set up to defend the MCOM. Where do I need to go to get a good position on them? Off into flank, maybe get behind them, or, you know, just do whatever. The guy just appears out of nowhere, and I was so surprised, and yet I go back and I watch the replay, and it's like, no, he pretty much did just pop out of a bush. Look, is it the same guy? I gotta remember, those bushes are very good visual cover. You can probably just shoot right through them, but he startled me twice. Oh my gosh. Well, I find myself in an odd situation here where I'm fairly far back. My teammates are pushing. My squad is over at Alpha. They're planting right now, I imagine. And yet I'm worried about this Tunguska getting behind us, because that would be kind of Tunguska behind you. Yeah, I think that would pretty well mess things up, even if he's not the biggest threat to the defending the MCOMs. But at the same time, it's like, oh, what am I going to do here? Well, I'm going to spot people. I'm going to try to suppress them. And I'm gonna, even if I'm not pushed up to kill a lot of people, I'm still going to try to do something useful. And so, okay, well, I got a couple rockets left. I mean, let me try to take out the Tunguska. Nope. What am I going to do? This is such an odd situation for me. It's like, I don't have anybody to shoot. I'm just trying to clear them out from behind us, which is important, granted. At the same time, I'm thinking, I want to be up by the MCOMs. My entire team is pushed up. This is great playing with this. My team is actually aggressive, they're pushing up, but the other team is just pretty strong too, and they're pushing us back. So instead of pushing right onto the MCOM, I'm going to push up, like I said, to go somewhere where I can try and cover my teammates and dislodge the defenders. So where do I go? Well, the MCOM is already gone, but it's going to offer a nice flank. I just fire in on these guys' sides, and, you know, the MTAR is not the best for this situation, but, you know, I can spot people, I can suppress, I can wound, and occasionally I'll pick up a kill. And we managed to hold them off long enough like this that we get the MCOM. And while I wasn't right, again, it's not that I'm right there on the MCOM, it's that I'm spotting, suppressing, killing, and generally making the defender's life harder, that at least as offense, that's what I'm doing. So it looks like I'm completely ignoring the objective. I hope it doesn't look like I'm completely ignoring the objective, because I'm standing here shooting the defenders. At the same time, I'm not worried about running right up to it. If someone manages to get to it, a defender gets there, and I can't shoot them, I'm just going to wait for my teammates to respawn on me. So So my objective is the push, area control, and I'll let my teammates worry about actually completing the objective. Ah, yes, that was glorious small. Alright, so you're thinking, alright, Time, I know you did this video a while back about carrying a team as a recon. Well, what's the difference here with this kind of Slayer role with the, I guess, with anything other than a recon weapon? And I think with the recon, it's you want to sit even further back and piss them off. But it's the same idea, I guess, with the you want to contest the area around the MCOMs so that, you know, you can clear it out for your teammates. Or in the case of recon, it was piss them off enough that they come chase you down and run away, and that's how you get control of the area. And here, it's just get up in their faces and kill them. But once again, I'm not worried about being right on the MCOM. I'm checking the traffic routes that would lead through the open, would be the very dangerous ones that people would use to get to the MCOM. And so it's assholes like me is why people carry smoke, I would say. I know where to look, like they're going to run across this road, and then I'm going to get to shoot them. And so, I'm not worried about being the last line of defense. I actually would kind of like to be the first line of defense, and so that's why it ends up being Slayer, because if you're good at it, you're going to end up with a lot of kills. Alright, so at this point we're thinking, what could be so complicated? You know, what kinds of decisions actually have to happen? Well, when you're trying to push enemies out of an area, remember they can always run there because they spawn somewhere else, or they can spawn on teammates who are still there. So you have to come to some level of prioritizing killing the people who are already there so their teammates can't spawn in on them, versus killing the people who are trying to get there. And of course, with the recon role, I was kind of going for the distraction as a way to address that. But yeah, that's recon. Now, you also want to give your teammates a good place to spawn in. So this is the disadvantage of a lot of the recon spots because you're further away. But, well, say I set up in a location where I'm waiting for enemies to run across the road and my teammates spawn in on me, and then they have to run across the same road, and, you know, they all do the bunny hop together. Do the bunny hop. Yeah, jump. I don't know why that's so funny, but you make sure on faster, so that's what we do. Unless you want to be super sneaky, but then why would you? Anyway, so if your teammates have to run across a really dangerous spot, and they need to filter into wherever you're trying to defend, then it might not be the best spot. So you have to come to some level of, you know, you can't set up in some places because it just won't give your teammates a good spot to spawn in. And you can't just work on defending the enemies who are running in from their spawn, because the ones who are already there are still there, and their teammates can spawn in on them. So it's not a simple solution. Now, sometimes pulling out a silencer and getting in near the spawn can be good, which is obviously what I'm doing here. I decided, like I said, the MTAR wasn't quite doing it for me. I go to the QBZ. I have to find the range to work a little better on this. The fire rate's a little slower, I think. Silencer, yeah, and this starts to work for a while, but I don't know. I said engineer weapons, not the best thing in the world, though they're nothing to really complain about, I should say. So what a lot of this power positions comes down to where you can go to both kill the enemies in the area and deny them from getting to the area, and let your teammates spawn in on you and be reasonably safe so they can get somewhere. So in this, actually this wall, this outer wall here, after it's been blown out, it provides some cover, as you're going to see. So I can shoot in on the enemies, and I can see the longer line of sight all the way back towards their spawn. And my teammates who spawn in on me are immediately in danger. So this actually, just this front wall here, actually works out to be a fairly good position if you can get all the way up here. So as defenders, obviously they want to keep us from getting this far, because once we're here we get to this spot, and this is good. I can see the MCOM, I can see their spawn, my teammates can spawn in on me. And so while we think about what constitutes a power position, this is a pretty good one. Although I end up in a tight spot, guys chase me down, no bullets, get shot by the Tunguska, turn the corner, and he was not expecting me to come back around the corner. And now I'm back to my spot, can see the MCOM, no bullets left, but well, that's what the SMAW is for, and that'll be game. Well guys, I want to thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed the commentary, hope that it was interesting, and I will see you later.